Welcome back to InspireDI, the unofficial destination imagination podcast for teams and team managers. My name is Coach Kate. I am a team manager and also a former STEAM Challenge competitor. We are continuing our Global Finals series. Today we are talking about registration and fundraising. This is one you do not want to miss. Registration details are very important, and as boring as they might be, if you do everything correctly, it's very easy when you get to Kansas City. So let's dive in. First, congratulations, you are going to Global Finals. The first thing you have to do is make sure you accept that invitation that you received from Destination Imagination headquarters. They should have sent you an email when you qualified at your affiliate tournament, or if you were approved off of the wait list, they will have sent you an email for that. So make sure you check your email, and first thing you need to do is accept that invitation. Once you accept that invitation, your team manager will have full access to the entire Global Finals website. Second, it's time to list all attendees. This does not just mean your team and team manager and parents who plan to be coming along with you, but also this is a great time to include anyone on that attendees list that might possibly come with you. This includes siblings that may or may not be planning on coming along, an additional parent that may have to swap out for a parent planning to come along, any family members who might be joining, a cousin that lives nearby that might just want to come and watch your presentation, anyone who might possibly come. This is where you want to list all of them. The reason you want to list all of them, even if there's a possibility they're not going to come, is because with your registration, you are entitled to unlimited attendees to Global Finals. However, this unlimited number is only available for free if you register these people ahead of time. If you don't register ahead of time and someone wants to last minute come and watch your presentation after registration has been completed, you're going to have to go through the whole process when you get to Kansas City of filing that person's information and paying $25 per person. So right now it is free, it is included. Might as well register everyone who might possibly come with your team. Second, you're going to choose a check-in time in the registration area. Your team is going to send someone to the arena to pick up all of your credentials and all of the information for Global Finals. You are going to have one person go. You don't want the whole team to go because it gets a little crowded and hard to keep track of everybody, but you can just send one person. If your team manager is the first one in Kansas City and ready to grab it, then that's fine. You can also send another adult. You need to list in your registration the time that you plan to pick up your credentials. Now, does that have to be the exact time? If your plane comes in a little bit late and you're about an hour later than you had planned, it's fine. That's not a big deal and it's not going to matter. It's just to give Destination Imagination headquarters a heads up. If you choose to check in on the first day, you're going to want to say what time it is you check in. However, some teams might not be able to get there on that first day on Thursday. So if you can't get there on Thursday, you can pick up your credentials all the way to the last day. You just need to let headquarters know so that they're ready for you. You also want to put down your prop drop time in this registration area. So what does that mean? When your props are going to arrive. If your props are coming on a truck from your affiliate, that's going to be the first day. They're probably dropping them off a day or two ahead of time. If you are driving them in, you're going to want to note that on this section and what time you're going to be coming. The reason is they want to make sure they've got somebody there to help you move all of your materials into your prop area. Additionally, here in the registration area is where you can put in special requests. So if you've got some team members that have to leave Global Finals early or team members who can't make it to Global Finals until later, you can request from DIHQ that you do your performance or your instant challenge on a specific date or later. These special requests are not guaranteed to be granted. However, DIHQ does try their best to accommodate all of the teams. They know everybody has a lot going on, and it is sometimes hard to get to Kansas City for a full 4 days. So if you have a special request, put it in. The sooner the better. The earlier the better for those special requests. Once they get closer to finalizing the schedules, it is very hard for DIHQ to make changes. It ends up being a domino effect into many, many teams. And once they've released that time, they really can't change it. So if you have any special requests, please put that in there. If you are coaching 2 teams that are going to global finals, HQ will have that information and should already be able to be accommodating that so they're not scheduling both teams at the same time. However, it's a great idea to put it into that special request area in registration just to be sure. Every once in a while, something falls through the cracks. An affiliate might not have filed everything properly. And we want to make sure DIHQ has everything they need to schedule you guys at the best time possible for your team. If your team is going to be there the whole time, please don't put in a special request. Do not ask just because you would like to not perform on the first day or you would like to not perform on the last day. Don't put in the special request for that. Those are really made for teams that need that special request. I have had teams that have gone early on the first day. I've had a team that went the last presentation in the entire tournament. Both did fine. It was great. It really does not make that much of a difference when or what time you perform. Next on our registration, consent forms. All those people that you listed originally as potential attendees, you will have to give their email address and an email will be sent to them. They'll have to fill out the forms themselves. If it is a team member, will be sent to their parents, and their parents have to be over 18 and consent. Those need to be completed for each and every attendee. So if you think grandma might be coming, but she's not going to check her email, then as a team manager, do not put grandma's email in to consent. Have one of the parents consent for grandma. Your registration is not complete if you don't have all of the attendees' consent forms. So that's really important. Next, you will be getting access to the housing and food tab on the registration page once you accept your invitation to Global Finals. So housing, there will be a link to all of the available room blocks. We will have a future podcast about recommended housing and food recommendations, but as of right now, you can sign in, you can get a block. You can also use rewards points for any of the hotels in the area. There are tons of hotels in the area, and you can always use your own personal rewards points for that. Sometimes those deals will be even better than what Destination Imagination headquarters has negotiated. In terms of parking, make sure when you decide on a hotel, if you are going to have a car, where and how much that parking is going to be. There's also a Liberty lot a little away from the convention center that has buses going back and forth to the convention center all day long, so you can also park there. Parking right around the convention center is really tough. So unless you are parked at a hotel right around the convention center, it is going to be hard to find parking around that area. So you will have to park in that Liberty lot. For more information about that, you can go to globalfinals.org. I will talk further about exploring Kansas City and also the public transportation available. The convention center is in a very walkable area. So if you are staying around the convention center area or about a mile away on the free streetcar, you really don't need a car. There's plenty of food and activities that are really easy to get to, walking distance or on the free streetcar line. I will have an upcoming podcast next week that will talk all about housing and food recommendations. So if you have not booked your housing, that's going to be a great one to tune into. And also food. Kansas City is definitely a foodie town. There's fantastic food. So I will give you lots of information about that. And last but not least, in the registration discussion here is payment. The registration fee is $5,500. If you live outside the United States, you will get an automatic $500 credit to offset costs of visas, passports that will automatically be applied during registration. Otherwise, if you are within the United States, it is going to be $5,500 full registration. To accept your invitation to go to Global Finals, you must pay $2,000 by April 15th. Otherwise, they will cancel your invitation and they will give it to somebody else who's potentially on the wait list. So make sure you get that in. One thing that I really like that they've changed about the website now and the payment section is that you can send the link to the payment to any of the parents or anyone who's potentially going to pay your registration, and they can pay that or a portion of that themselves. So it's really nice for team managers. We don't have to collect all of the money for registration from all of the parents. You can just ask parents to individually go and pay their child's portion. If you have someone who wants to donate directly for your team, they can use that link as well. Just note that this is not an amount that will be counted towards a donation towards a nonprofit, because this is going towards fees and fees don't count for that. If you have somebody who wants to donate money to your team and they want to pay directly, make sure you let them know that this does not count as a donation to a nonprofit organization, because this is going towards your fees and not a donation directly to Destination Imagination. With that said, if you do have people who want to donate money to your team, and this is getting into our next topic of fundraising, we are going to talk about how best to do that so that you can maximize that amount. Before we get off of this topic, let me talk about what happens when you get to Kansas City with registration. No one can enter the convention center or the arena without credentials. So this is really important. If any one of your team members gets to Global Finals and no one from your team has picked up credentials yet, those team members cannot enter the convention center. They will not let them go in. So this is really important that you know what time your whole team is showing up and make sure that the first person there can get the credential, or the first person who wants to go into the convention center can pick up the credentials for your team. I love picking up credentials as a team manager. I actually like it sometimes better when there is a line. I've met so many interesting team managers waiting in line to pick up credentials. It's really a fun way to start off Global Finals. Last year, registration started a little later because the arena area was not available. This year, it does start at 11 a.m. on Thursday, so there shouldn't be much of a line. But last year, there was a big line because registration didn't open till later in the afternoon. However, it was so fun waiting in that line. I was right behind a team from Poland. Right behind me was a team from Wisconsin. They had never been before. They had a whole team of kids there who were also coming to watch and support the older siblings. So that was fun to meet and talk to them. And then later on in the tournament, when we passed them up at prop storage, we now had friends that we could wave to and say hi and support them. So wherever you are during DI, if you look at all of these opportunities to meet people and expand who you know at Globals, it really is such a wonderful international competition. It is so fun to talk to everybody. It opens up the whole experience. I love it. So anyway, yeah, lines aren't fun, but if you have to wait in line, make a friend, because you'll be fascinated by the people you're standing next to. Okay, so that is everything for registration. If you have any questions, please do comment on this podcast or feel free to shoot an email to coachkatedi@gmail.com. We've been through registration many times, and if you do everything properly while you're home, it's very smooth when you get to Kansas City. Let's move on to fundraising. Okay, so if your team is looking at this 5,500 number, plus the other expenses going to Global Finals, that includes any travel expenses you have, housing, food costs, and if your team wants to trade some pins, that's going to be a little bit of a cost too. So when you're looking at this cost, this is definitely not an inexpensive endeavor to go to Global Finals. So how can your team offset that? We've done so many different types of fundraising. And if you go onto the globalfinals.org website, There's lots of ideas. I'm just going to name a few of them because I felt like these were not a heavy lift and they were exciting for the team. So first, we have done a bake sale. Usually bake sales might not be super profitable unless you are in an area that's going to be high traffic. If you have a town event coming up like a parade or some kind of big show or something big going on in your town, you can ask your town if you can set up a stand and do a bake sale. You can either have your team members and friends make food, or you could ask your local supermarket or grocery store if they might either donate baked goods or if they might donate a gift card and you can buy baked goods from them. Along with the bake sale, we've also done a raffle and had a donation box. Sometimes somebody might not be interested in buying your baked goods, but they are happy to support your team with a few dollars, and that adds up. So always make sure if you do any of these fundraisers that are in a public place that you do have the shoebox that says donations, please. Also, make sure your kids have a little spiel ready to share with whoever asks, what's Destination Imagination? I know if somebody asks me, I can go on for 3 hours to explain what Destination Imagination is, but make sure they have a little spiel about what it is. It's a STEAM or a STEM plus arts competition for kids in kindergarten through 12th grade, where we do project-based challenges with no parent or adult interference. And maybe if they have a picture of something that they've created, that's kind of cool to show what they do. Last year, there was going to be a really hot day. We set up at a really popular, at a popular playground in town and had an ice cream social where we got a whole bunch of individual ice creams at the supermarket and we sold them for like $5 each. We made quite a big amount of money there. We also made raffle baskets with that one. We had a gift card from one of the supermarkets and they had a toy section. So we put together raffles too. So that made extra money on top of the ice cream that we sold. And since it was a warm day, we got lots of sales and we also got donations. We got people interested in Destination Imagination and we did pretty well with those raffle baskets as well. One year we made t-shirts and sold them online. There's a lot of websites that you can go onto and design a t-shirt. People order directly from the website. My only advice there is that you don't make t-shirts or sweatshirts that have your team name on them or that are specific to your team unless you're buying them for your team. If you're trying to sell to the general public, make a t-shirt that's fun and that people in the public might be interested in buying. I know there are many other opportunities to raise money. We've done popcorn sales. We've done crowdsourcing sites. You can send those out to family and friends and try to raise money that way. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, CoachKateDI@gmail.com. If you liked this podcast, please subscribe wherever you get your podcast or on YouTube. I would love to know if these podcasts are helpful to you. Please also find me, InspireDI, on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.